The back and forth between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities seems far from over. This is so because the Academic Staff Union of Universities says it will appeal the ruling of the National Industrial Court, which ordered the lecturers to call off their ongoing strike. Femi Falana, who is the counsel to the union, confirmed this hours after the ruling of the court, saying he is preparing the grounds of appeal immediately. The industrial action by ASUU has continued to take a toll on the nation's education, especially the tertiary sector, as academic activities in most government-owned universities have been halted for over 7 months. Joining us in the studio is Ayodele Adewale, former Students' Union government president at the Lagos State University. And here is Dele Ashiru, chairman, ASUU UNILAG chapter, who has been here quite a number of times on this subject. Now, let me start with the ASUU man. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How are you doing without salary for 7 months?
As you can see.
You still look robust?
Suffering.
Looking robust and suffering? So why is it that you guys still want to appeal the decision?
Well, you see, there's the need to appeal that decision because we are convinced that what we got was a Jankara, so to speak, kind of order. You find a situation where a government enters into an agreement with a union 12 years ago. And in that agreement, either of the party can call for a review every 3 years. Now that agreement, is now due for 4 reviews. And the last time we were able to get a review, government abdicated. And then
when was that?
2022, the Nimi Briggs report. Rather than sign, government abdicated. And we said, look, you can't do this. This is a product of collective bargaining. And then rather than look at those issues, you are running to a court, getting a vacation judge to give a vacation order, and then sending the file back to the registrar of the court to reassign it. You will agree with me that this is just an acted job by a judge that is passing. So we feel that the interest of justice has not been served by this one-term order. And because we understand that unless we get justice, this problem will continue to fester. Let me also say that there is this narrative that universities are closed because of ASUU strike. That is not correct. Universities are closed because of the insensitivity of government. It's not only in Nigeria that lecturers go on strike. In the United Kingdom, only recently, lecturers were on strike. What did the government do to get them back to work? So it is not correct to say that universities are closed because ASUU is on strike. Universities are closed because government is irresponsible, because government is insensitive, and government fails to understand the pivotal role of education in the development of any society. So that is why we think that it is apposite for us to appeal that unjust order.
All right. Adewale, what do you say to what he has just said?
Well, thank you for having me here once again. Firstly, I must commend ASUU for being very peaceful and, of course, obeying the rule of law, obeying the court order, and giving room for redress. I mean, as the prof has proceeded, that there can always be review. I believe the court have only acted on the basis of national interest, and that let all parties still have room to discuss. But while doing that, ASUU go back to class and to continue to do their duties and, of course, push their position. I will always stand by ASUU. I will always stand by Nigerian people, that we have a credible, workable, best institutional facility for all Nigerians, better welfare condition for our lecturers. If I have my way as a Nigerian, ASUU should get the lion's share of the budgetary allocation, and they should be the most paid in the Nigerian state. But be that as it may, we must also be very sensitive that the larger majority of the Nigerian demographic population are the youth, and they are the ones suffering the most. And they cannot also be at par with their fellows that are in private institutions. Going forward, I would commend ASUU and also appeal to ASUU because they are the heads. They are in the ivory tower where this ideology, concept, precept is being put forward. And we should look at a way in creating a system whereby this funding can be cascaded in order to solve these problems.
Ashiru, the Minister of Labour, Ngige, said that they agreed to give you guys 27% and 35%. He has given you an offer. You guys call it an award. Say you have not come with your counter offer, and that's what they call in labor's parlance. They call it collective bargaining. It is seeming to look like a one-sided bargaining. That if he says, okay, I'm giving you 27%, I'm giving you 35%, then you say, okay, now that you say you've given something, this is what we want. But you guys are saying it is either my way or the highway.
No, Uncle Sam. And I'm surprised that, this is the way we are framing the question. Look, our union is not bargaining with Ngige. Who is Ngige? Ngige is just a public servant. He's just a minister. We are negotiating with the Nigerian government.
Well, it's represented by somebody.
Yes, by Mimi Briggs, not Ngige.
What if the federal
you ask a question. Let me please
Okay.
answer the question.
Okay.
The people who are to negotiate with us is the committee set up by government. Even Ngige himself said that. And then we went into negotiation. In fact, what Briggs offered, according to him, and he had made that public, they went around all government agencies, Ministry of Education, Finance, Budget and Planning, Salaries, Income, Wages Commission, etc. And then said, this is what government can offer. That was the offer. And then we looked at the national interest, as alluded to by Comrade, and said, okay, we will take, because it's even far lower than what we had negotiated with previous government negotiating team. So that document was the collective bargaining document which government ought to sign. And then government all of a sudden came from nowhere to say, look, we can no longer follow collective bargaining, which is in labor relation, negotiating in bad faith, and then gave an offer of 23% and 35%. And our union told government that, look, we've taken 13 years to get to the Nimic Briggs committee. So if you are giving 35% as an award, because that's no longer a bargain, the bargain had been jettisoned in bad faith. And in labor relation, once there is an iota of bad faith, it negates the entire process. So they came and said, you have 35% or nothing. And then we raised the question. So how many percent per year after 13 years? So we are not in negotiation with Ngige. We have negotiated with Nimi Briggs. If government wants to give a counteroffer, what they need to do is tell Briggs, go back to us.
Wait, if you have not negotiated with Ngige, you have negotiated with Briggs. So why are you meeting with Ngige? Why were you meeting with Ngige? You should have just said, we are not meeting with Ngige. We have already made the decision.
No, we cannot say that. And it will
Ngige represents the federal government.
No, please. No, Uncle Sam. Ngige cannot. Ngige is a minister in the Federal Republic. He cannot approximate the government. And he cannot be the one to dictate what lecturers will take as salaries in a country where there's a democratically elected government.
I don't know how you come into this. When a government sets up a panel, whether it's collective bargaining or not, are they not supposed to? Is it not also subject to the government itself? I have to send you on an errand, and you come and say, this is what we have come with. The government also ought to sit down and decide what it can do within its own resources and so on. What do you say to that? Because that is the other point.
Well, within the framework of government administration and our constitution, the government as represented by its leadership can cede power either to its minister or to a committee to negotiate on its behalf. And of course, report back, and they sit down collectively again to look at what they have done. But I'll take it from a political angle now. You see, ASUU is very right to stand by his gun, and I think even the 1 point, whatever trillion it is still far below what is needed. Now, politically, ASUU can look at the coming elections, look at the key players, and go into discussion of negotiation in order to protect their interest. It is done. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised to make education free up to the tertiary level. I think that's a very key thing that ASUU should look at. Look at those who have presented programs that are liking to improving your welfare and your environment. Go into negotiation, go into alliance, hold them to their words, and see what happens from that standpoint.
Well, the other thing that I've been raised is that you guys are just being rigid. That you guys need to come down and say, let us sit down and find a way out. And they said the only way you can do that is to meet with the president. Is that the only way out?
No. We have not insisted that we must sit with the president.
No, but many people have said, if you meet with the president, that will solve the situation. Do you think that will ever happen?
Well, if we go by president, when President Goodluck Jonathan was in the saddle, we had a protracted strike like this. Incidentally, Governor Wike was the then Minister of State, and he had availed government his experience when he was confronted with that situation. Of course, the president, maybe that was his own style, said, okay, now that negotiation seems not to be working between you, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Labor, etc., let's all of us sit down. Summoned all relevant, agencies of government. And at that meeting, we took about 13 hours. That was where critical decisions that ended the strike were taken. If we go by president, that may be an option. But we are even, as a union, thinking that if we have a government and its representatives whose...
Like Ngige.
Yeah, like Ngige.
But you are denying that...
I didn't deny.
It's not
what I'm saying is that Ngige is not government.
It represents the government. So
it's just a representative of government.
Yeah, but that's it. It's coming with the voice of the government. Is it not?
But they've been speaking in discordant tune. Ngige will say something, Adamu will say another one.
So you recognize Adamu? Are you saying you recognize Adamu more than Ngige?
They are all ministers. So
who do you recognize?
All of them, but our negotiation is with government. It's not with any minister. Because they are all best of passage. We are not negotiating with ministers.
Who are you negotiating with?
The federal government of Nigeria.
But it must come in the person of a person.
No, in the person of a committee, the Nime committee.
So that means you don't really have any negotiation. So why do you meet with them if you say it's Nime? Why do you have to have meetings? Why do you have to have 13-hour meetings when you know that you already have a rigid position?
No, Uncle Sam. Nobody goes to a negotiation with a rigid position. Our union never does that.
Also, it says that you should come with a counter offer, but you said no. The counter offer is not.
Who says we should come with a counter?
They say you guys have not come with a counter offer.
No, even the offer is not from Ngige.
It's the government. They represent the government.
Uncle Sam, stop shifting your position.
No.
Stick to your argument. Look, you are talking about Ngige. And I've just told you that even the 23% didn't come from Ngige. Ngige told us that government was willing to give us pay rise of 100%.
No,
the clips can be paid back. It was Adamu, after going around and getting confused, who came with the award, not Ngige.
No, you need to understand what I'm saying.
You need to follow chronology.
You need to understand what I'm saying. Whether it's Ngige, whether it's Adamu, they are mouthpieces of a government.
Yes.
So if Ngige says it, it's not Ngige, it's the government.
Ngige did not say we are offered 35%. Nowhere he said that.
No, Adamu said it. Ngige has parroted it.
No.
Yes, right. He said you guys did not come with a counter offer.
No.
Counter offer to what?
No.
Counter offer to what?
Ngige said government was willing to hike lecturers' salaries by 100%. Adamu came weeks after with the 35-23 offer, which we rejected.
Yes.
And said, look, there is a document before you.
Yes.
If you have something contrary to what is in that document, come to the table, not to the media.
Yeah, but he said, after that,
said?
chronologically,
Who said?
Listen, cool
and
down.
At what time?
Cool down. He said, cool down. He said it just a few days ago, after the 25%, 27%, and 35% offer. He said, you guys have not come with a counter offer. It's news. So counter offer to what?
You should answer
counter
that
offer,
question.
of course, it's obvious that there was an offer, which is 27 and 37%. Counter offer to that.
That was an award. It's not an offer. The only place where you can give an offer is with the negotiating
it's a semantic issue now.
You are throwing up the semantics.
You are the one bringing the award.
Which is actually not the focus of our own struggle. Our own struggle is to save, the Nigerian public university system from its current situation. And one of it is the slave wage that is paid to those who are supposed to be the best brains in the country. And also the infrastructures in the universities that are less than what is required all over the world. Comrade here will tell you the situation in our universities. And Uncle Sam, maybe you don't also know, I was also a student union president, like Comrade. Although we belong to different generations, the point that we are making here is that these challenges have remained with us over the years. And one would expect that a forward, progressive-looking government like the one we have at the moment will take steps to ensure that the rot in the university system are arrested permanently, not by Gestapo and, tyrannical tactics and dragging the court into a situation that is so straightforward. You have an agreement, with the people. You have refused to implement that agreement. There are about 3 memoranda of action between government and that same union. You have not implemented any. And then you are giving a Jankara order that they should go back to class while negotiation continue. Why not conclude the negotiation before asking us to go back to class?
The federal government said they have agreed to everything that these people want. That's the ASUU, except 2. The backlog of salaries and wage increase. So the point is, we want to know what has happened with all the other agreements.
Well, you've said it. There are just 2, and government have accepted the other agreements. There's just 2 nots.
What are the ones they've agreed? Well, we don't know. We don't know the details.
He's not in a position to know.
But what I can say is that those 2 other ones are a reflection of the Nigerian economy. I mean, judging from what the Minister of Finance just recently said, and looking at that situation that will confront us very soon if we are not careful, and even if the government decide to corner all the funds to ASUU now, a lot of agencies, departments, ministries, and sundry matters will also suffer. But how do we get out of this problem? I mean, there were similar, ASUU is an interest group, just like other pressure groups. And I will only look at a political situation. Even if we're in court, or they're in court with the government, as the case will be, you have 5 months to elections. You have a window of opportunity to tie your interest with people that will help you. It happened in the UK. Remember, there was a time that the Labour and the Conservative were having a tie. It was the vote of the academic environment that actually swing, you understand, to the other party that won the election. Similar things can happen. So we must just think out of the box.
Yeah, so tell me, what are the other agreements?
It is
because
not,
you guys have
it is
said
not true
that
government had resolved any of the issues in contention. It is not true. Not one. And our union had said that repeatedly. Look, we went on strike, one, to renegotiate the 2009 ASUU FGN agreement. Up till now, there's still no agreement that is renegotiated. The second reason is that we'll be taken out of the now discredited IPPIS scheme. Here in this studio, I was told that an employee cannot dictate how an employer will pay him and all that. Today, we predicted that the IPPIS was a conduit pipe. Where is the Accountant General of the Federation? Who was the chief apostle of IPPIS? Where is it today? So, Uncle Sam, that is still yet to be resolved. And academic allowances, they say they are going to pay in 2023 budget. Revitalization fund will be in 2023 budget, when this government will no longer be in the saddle. So tell me, visitation, white paper on visitation panel, still yet to be released. Law on state universities proliferation, yet to be released. So what is it that has been, addressed in all of the reasons why we went on this strike? None. There's none. So there's nothing on the table. And ministers that you hold forth for all the time have come to tell Nigerians lies. You hold forth for Igige all the time.
What the government is. It seems your understanding of what government is that
it's
an untouchable thing. Anyway, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue on this issue. Yeah, we'll continue with our discussion on the lingering ASUU strike. Adewale, what do you make of what is going on? It looks like we are in a rut.
Well, it's bound to happen when emotions and some other sundry issues have been played up. But again, we must look at the reality. How do we solve the problem? Even if we'll be in court for a long time, even if we win. I've had issues in court with people that owe me money. At the end of the day, the court ruled that whatever they can pay, they should pay for this long of a time. Does that solve my problem of wanting the money in bulk and all of that? So we should think out of the box. That is why I'm looking at a political solution. If ASUU, while fighting in court, some of them can also veer off to look for people that have the same ideology with them and that are ready to go in sync with them. Not only ASUU, the NBA, the NME in Nigerian Labour Congress. Because you have an opportunity coming up now for another election. Look at people, someone that have your interest at hand, that have the program that will solve your problem. Go into alliance with such individual. Hold them to their words and strike a deal. Because a tree doesn't make a forest. No matter how the president thinks he's knowledgeable, a minister thinks he's knowledgeable, by the time you all come together as a force, you can solve all of this problem. And not forgetting that you need to block leakages.
Yeah, but you know that if there's any problem, no matter how intransigent the ASUU is, it is first and foremost the problem of the government.
Definitely. And who is the government? We are all the government.
No, I mean the leadership of the
government. I'll give you Lagos State University as a case study. In 1999, we had serious dire issue in terms of infrastructure and what have you. ASUU had just come in and all of that. You know, the management were used to working with the military, putting everything under the table. We brought it out. We were expelled. We did a compendium of about 96 pages. We had a meeting with him for 7 hours. I remember it was on a Friday. The only break time we had was when he went to pray about 12 o'clock. And he came back. We continued. He took that document, dusted the document, and that was what led to the blueprint that you have in LASU today, that have created better infrastructure, better ways of teaching, and all of that. So if ASUU have done it back then, ASUU should look at a political solution. We have 5 months to bring in another political order. Take that advantage, key into that, and let's move the country forward together.
What do you say to that?
Well, you can see that as my comrade, as he was, I was just getting excited about. Look, I can play to you a clip here by Muhammadu Buhari when he was contesting the election, castigating PDP and saying that if Nigeria had 7 billion to do something, ASUU is on strike, he would rather pay the 7 billion to ASUU and all that. When Asiwaju was campaigning for Buhari, he also made promises on behalf of Buhari. I don't want to be dragged into the campaign issues and, I mean, the politics of 2023 and all that, because Asiwaju is somebody we all respect. But the problem of the decay in the Nigerian university system is a systemic one. And I doubt if some certain things are not put in place in terms of institutional structures, the problem will remain irrespective of who becomes what in 2023. Look, I told you that these challenges, Yar'Adua attempted to solve that problem in 2009. Bear in mind that we were confronted with a similar situation. We were on strike until Yar'Adua came. It was President Yar'Adua of blessed memory who ordered that the 2009 agreement be signed. And successive regimes after then have found it extremely difficult, to implement an agreement that was freely signed. So whether 2023 is coming or whatever, this is an opportunity for those also aspiring to lead us to reach out to those they intend to lead, know what the problems are, and think of how to resolve them. For us as a union, we are open to discussion, to negotiation, to engagement with any group, whether the Asiwaju group or the Atiku group or the Sowore group or the Obi group, any of the groups that are willing to take suggestions from our union as to how to permanently resolve this crisis. Look, we go to strike at great pains. We are not strike mongers. And we are still on strike because we are convinced that unless we do what we are doing, there will be no public universities in this country anymore. And you can take it from the primary level. Where are public primary schools today? Where are they? Where are public secondary schools? Where are they? None of the elites ruling Nigeria today can put his or her word in either public primary or secondary school. And now it's playing into the university system. So it's not an ASUU problem. It's just that as an organic intellectual organization, we must take the lead in showing that, look, there is danger in this path that we are treading. So we are open to discussion with any group, but our union is not a partisan union. We are political.
Can I comment, sir? You see, I'm very happy that Prof has opened the window for discussion for key players to come into this. It's rather unfortunate that Professor Abubakar Momo has passed on. May God forgive his sin and grant him Aljana. I'm also happy that I saw Professor Dikpo Fashin Jingo when they were having the negotiation. These are people that I have gone to battle along with in order to confront the Nigerian state and make reforms. I'm also happy that he says he has a respect for Asiwaju and all that. I will only want to beg that as much as they continue to fight for their rights, which I will strongly stand by, and as much as they have respect for some of us because we are their appellage, we learned from them, and we will protect their interests. Let's open discussion with Asiwaju, for instance. Discuss with him. go into an agreement, go into a public agreement, negotiation for the academic environment. He still remains the only candidate of any political party that have come out to say that education will be free at tertiary institution level. That is to tell you how committed that some people are still, are to making sure that we revamp the academic environment and give ASUU their rights, give the student their rights, and give the Nigerian people their rights.
Some people are, yeah, that's a good point. Some people have said that the university system itself needs to be like JAMB. JAMB recently went to the House of Rep and said, we don't want to rely on budgetary allocation. That we just want to be able to charge the necessary fees.
Some of us will not agree to that.
And rely on our own
we will not agree to
source of, and have our own, what do you call it, independence of financial control in our system. Why can't the universities be like that? Why can't universities rely on themselves? Why should they have to rely on government? I mean, going forward, not over this crisis, but I mean, is it not time that most of the best universities in the world don't rely on government subvention?
Best universities in the world.
Some of the best universities don't rely on basically.
There are best universities in the world that are free.
Exactly. There are.
Yeah,
but there are universities. It's either they are
so why
free,
are we
if
taking
they
the
are
option
free, why
of those?
Why are the point? The point is that yes, that's why I want you to address that issue.
Yes, I will.
Yes, address it. I mean, there are universities in the world, the best universities in the world, top 10 in the world. They don't belong to that category. Yes, not in Moscow.
Yeah, because of the neoliberal orthodoxy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
so why can't we do that?
Why can't we take the option that is not that one? Why must we take the first option that you are giving?
Why can't you? See, some people say it's laziness. It's either intellectual laziness or bureaucratic laziness of our university authorities. Because a professor came to this show to show how he did it in Mina. How he became independent of the federal government in Mina. Why can't you do it? I want you to answer it in Mina.
I will answer.
He came here, he came to
Mina? Which
University of Technology. It was here on this show. You know, it's very. If you don't know it, I'm surprised. If you don't know this story, I'm surprised.
Prof, let's not trivialize the issue.
No, not trivialize it. I'm telling you to address the issue.
Yes,
the top 10 universities in the world, you will list them. None of them. They all take care. They are all dependent on their own resources to run their universities.
Uncle Sam, to start with, Nigeria is not at that stage yet.
How do we get to that stage? Who will lead us there? If not the university?
This is the process.
Who will lead us there if not the university?
Yeah, I didn't interrupt you when you were asking your question. So give me also the opportunity.
You are trying to use
yeah, see.
ASUU tactics.
No.
On me.
See, let me first state that there's no university in the world that doesn't get subvention from government, including even these top 10 universities. That's point number one.
Minimal.
They get from government. Secondly, but they do.
Not enough to make them
but they
what
do.
they are.
They do. Secondly, the Constitution of the Federal Republic puts that responsibility squarely at the doorstep of government. Except that is no longer our ground rule.
No, I'm not saying for now. I'm not saying for now. I'm saying going forward.
Yeah,
you understand my
so
question.
going forward, we have to clear the current mess. We have to resolve the issues at hand. Government must first invest massively in the university system to get them to that state. JAMB that you gave the example, was JAMB funded with internally generated revenue to become JAMB? JAMB is how many years old? JAMB was established by government. But in moving forward, haven't exploited Nigerian people enough. Demand there now wants to consolidate that exploitation. Because, of course, if you now have the liberty to charge any amount you like, you also be at the liberty to spend it the way you choose. So What our union is saying is that, yes, we can get to that point, but the starting point is massive injection. When I was in Unilag, I had colleagues from all over the world. Today, the students I teach are from Akute, Ikorodu, Okokomaiko, etc. What does that tell you? So please, let us leave this neoliberal orthodoxy. Let's compel government to first do what is right, and consequentially, the universities will then move to that level where, look, there are a number of innovations lying fallow in our universities. No investment, either from government or from the private sector. The research grants in Nigerian universities today are from outside. Even South Africa is helping us to train PhDs. They are free. This government is irresponsible. And the governments of those countries are not, if they were that irresponsible, they cannot have the kind of universities that you are talking about. So please, let government first do what is right, and then see what our universities can become. Under COVID, even in, universities that people think nothing good can come out of them, they invented a number of machines. They are still there. In Unilag, we still have them. As I speak with you, Unilag had developed an electric car in this country. Nobody is talking about investing in it. How do you develop?
They come, or you go to them and give them proposals? Have you done that?
The proposals are before them. The crisis in Apapa gridlock. A professor in Unilag developed an app that can help resolve the problem. The papers are with government. I'm saying it on air. But they are there. The Nigerian government believes more in their neoliberal masters than in Nigeria. Our union has developed UTAS that has been tested and found better than IPPIs. Up till now, government is still prevaricating. So the problem is that we first have to lay a foundation that will now enable the universities to become those, ideal universities that we think about. But in a society where, they use stove as bouncing burner, there are no reagents in the laboratory, and then you are saying top 10. Even top 1,000, they are not there.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. It looks like this matter will continue to rage, as Ashiro has been raging. Thank you very much.
Uncle Sam, thank you.